Please like and share out the video, and also please subscribe to the channel, or the next time you feed your dog, this could happen to you.
Come on, get out of it. Let's go.
Hey guys and gals, it's your buddy Drew with Living Histories, Mysteries, and Three-Eyed Raven Productions. Welcome to the last video of the 35 days of Halloween on Living Histories, Mysteries. You know, I wanted to top off these 35 days of Halloween with a truly frightening story. But at the same time, I wanted to bring in some of that mystery. And I looked back through our videos and I realized that one of the best received videos that we've done during the last 34 days, was the missing 411 case about the kids. So for our last video for the 35 days of Halloween, I wanted to look into probably one of the most famous 411 cases that was ever researched. Quite a few years ago, a man by the name of Thomas Messick come up missing under mysterious circumstances. And David Paulides researched this case, and it met all of those criteria that he developed in over the 1,200 cases he researched and the 8 books that he wrote about the missing 411 cases and the mysteries involved behind them. It is truly frightening how a person can just vanish. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. I'm going to let you watch it and let you form your own decision about what you think happened to Mr. Messick. Check this out.
My name is David Paulides, and I'm a former police detective and current investigative author focused primarily on mysterious disappearances in the North American wilderness. My journey into the disappearances began when I was visiting a national park and was approached by 2 park rangers who knew I was an author. They described strange circumstances over the years involving missing hikers. I immediately began looking into the phenomena. 8 years and 8 books later, I've now researched 1,200 cases that fit the profile we are about to examine. While these cases involve people of all ages and all walks of life, I've chosen to present some of the most intriguing cases involving hunters. Generally speaking, hunters are very experienced, aware, and knowledgeable outdoorsmen. And so when one vanishes, you know something unusual has occurred. One of the most perplexing cases I've examined involves a hunter named Thomas Messick, who in 2015 went missing in northeast New York. doesn't investigate missing adults. There's a subcategory for the FBI that they can become involved in the disappearance of extremely young children under a certain set of criteria. So the million-dollar question is, why would the FBI arrive on Tom Messick's case?
Outdoors. He loved being in the woods. Hunting and fishing was his life. Want a cookie, honey? Huh? He was a very good husband, very good father. And I don't think you will find anybody who ever met him who didn't like him.
And how many kids did you guys have?
We had 3 sons, Tommy, Gene, and Rob.
So tell me about your dad. What kind of guy was he?
It's kind of do what you got to do to get things done. Never had a contractor in the house. We always did everything. You name it. I mean, we lifted the house up, put a foundation under it. When I was digging it out, I looked up at him. He had a cup of coffee in his hand, and I said, "Why don't we get a backhoe?" And he said, "I have one right there."
And what did you guys like to do as a family?
We camped. We did a lot of camping. And the boys loved it. And, you know, I was kind of the outsider because they were boys. And they hunted and fished and did those things.
I knew Tom before we were in the hunting camp because he used to work in Norton with me. I knew him probably about 55 years, somewhere around there.
What'd you guys like to do together?
Hunt and fish. That's what we done all the time, really.
We used to travel together with our kids for years.
Yeah, we had trailers, which we used to go trailing all the time, too, come to think of it. We all got the same vacation in Norton, so we all took off and went to Saranac, different places like that.
So what was your introduction to the outdoors?
It was always there, because my father always hunted and fished. We got a camp up north, not far from Brant Lake, for about a week every year. A bunch of guys get together and go hunting.
He taught hunter training for a long, long time. He probably taught every one of the kids around here.
Tom was a great guy. He was an old airborne ranger. He was unbelievable in the woods. He taught my hunting class for me to get my hunting license. He taught survival.
He had gunpowder blow up in his face, and that's how he lost. He had like 159 stitches in his hand, and he lost his eye that way. So he would say to these kids, this is what happens if you're not careful.
I mean, he had a lot of issues over the years, but never really seemed to slow him down any.
So obviously he had one eye.
Yeah. He was sort of blind. It wasn't really that great, but he could actually see out of it.
And hearing, there was an issue?
Yeah, it wasn't that great with the hearing. He needed hearing aids.
Would Tom be the kind of guy that would drink a lot, or?
No, he didn't drink that much. No.
So the day when you guys went hunting, did you guys drink when you hunt?
No. We might have beer with us in the truck. When we come out in the woods, we always might have a beer or something like that, but other than that, nothing excessive, you know?
How would you describe your dad's judgment?
It was good. In fact, he was probably one of his better days I've seen in a long time. He's good spirits, moving great. Didn't seem to even have an ache or pain in him that day. He was moving good.
How often do you think about it?
Oh, I just think about it quite often. You know, always pops into your mind. We were doing just kind of a quick thing. It was late, actually, almost lunchtime by the time we ended up going up there. Kind of just a 2-hour thing until evening, and we were going to go back to camp and hunt around camp till dark.
How many guys went up there that day? 7. Someone made the decision to hunt over by Brant Lake. Who made that decision?
I did. I just mentioned that we had state land there. We kind of agreed to hunt it. The road to Lily Pond.
I mean, you go up that road straight to the lake, and we parked right at the lake. And the old guys literally walked down that road in 100-yard increments. And walked in 30, 40 yards at the most, and sat down.
Al was the first watcher. I was the second. Joe Capicelli, and then Tom.
So Tom was furthest from the
He
lake.
was the furthest one.
We followed the trail along the lake, come up that snowmobile trail, popped into the woods, and swung up to him. A slow hunt and drive type thing.
The young boys said to the old men, "You four sit here, and if we see any deer, we'll push them towards you." And if Tom was the watcher, Tom would not have moved. I know that for a fact. If he was a watcher, that's where he was.
Did you see any deer?
No.
Did you hear anything?
I heard a strange noise in the woods, but I don't know what it was. It was a different noise than what I usually hear, you know?
Like what?
It's even hard to explain but it was different. Something different that I never heard before in the woods. I just can't say what it was, you know?
How long in duration was it? Was it 2 or 3 seconds?
No, it's just whatever it is, you know?
How far away was it?
I'd say it's probably 150 yards, something like that.
Was it toward Tom or away from Tom?
No, this was up towards the hill, top of the hill. Yeah.
Did you tell the cops this?
Yeah, I told them that, but they just passed it off,
The report said that your dad was carrying a walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
Who else had one?
we all did.
All on the same channel?
Yep.
Anybody ever hear anything?
No.
Did your dad know how to use it?
Yep.
Tom, you around?
It's one of those things where, he should have been out by now.
Call. You know, he should have been sitting on a watch. Can you hear me? Holler back.
And then we went and started looking for him.
Never know, you might see something.
Anybody fire any shots?
Yep, yeah, we fired shots. Somebody went down and called the rangers, and then we just kept looking.
They stayed overnight at the truck, beeping the horn, firing shots, different things.
Robbie called me that night and said, "Daddy's missing in the woods, but don't worry, we'll find him." And I said, "I'm coming up." And he said, no, don't come up. I'm sure we're going to find him, and I'll call you.
The community is very close-knit. Everybody's pretty much grown up together and knows everybody. You know, it's mountainous, we have lakes, we've got lots of opportunities to enjoy yourself. There's not a lot of pressure here. I came into work one morning and I noticed a state police helicopter had landed in our ball field right here behind the town hall. And then I could see some rangers arranging in our parking lot their vehicles and different apparatus. And I questioned what was going on, and they said there was a hunter that had been missing.
We did note that when we were up there, it seemed to be devoid of wildlife. You know, we didn't see squirrels, chipmunks, deer, any signs of them.
How unusual is that for your mountains out here?
Thought it was strange. Like I said, we didn't see any signs of anything out there.
And how many people did Warren County commit?
We had our emergency response team up there, which is comprised of 13 team members.
So when you heard about it, what'd you do?
Drove up there, joined the search. And I figured it would be, go up there and we'll find them and it'd be over, you know. The Air National Guard was going over with infrared. State police had helicopters with a guy out. You walked through the woods, no matter how thick they were, you had to see the other guy's ankle. We went through some terrain you just wouldn't believe, swamps up to your chest, and we covered every bit of it.
They were thinking maybe he got to a road and got hit by a car. And so they checked on the sides of the roads and never found anything.
The first couple days, I thought for sure we were going to find him. After about the third or fourth, I said, boy, this ain't good. A mile out, we were still media away. Walking through the woods, trip over somebody, never mind not see him.
They would have what they called bump lines that they would run through the forest, and we knew that was like a start and a stop.
The guy in the end had a roll of string and would tie it to a tree and just keep walking. And when we were done with that grid, they'd tie it off and everybody would shift to the other side and walk back.
So you know that between this string line, and between your bump lines, that area has been covered.
A few days later, we went back to the same areas and did them the other way. I mean, we covered every inch of ground up there.
The immediate area looked like a spider web because not only did they go this way, they went this way, and they went that way. So there was string everywhere.
You know, 300 people in there one day.
People asked who he was, like, was he the governor's brother or something? It was incredible.
How many jurisdictions do you think responded to this search?
There was probably a dozen or so volunteer fire departments that had members here. Probably 50 or 60 altogether in different organizations.
That's huge.
Yeah. New York State Corrections came out. They searched with their dogs. There was tons of volunteer search and rescue teams that came out with their canine units. I mean, they hit, I guess, for a little while, but not for very long.
Day two that we were involved with the search up there, it rained heavily all day.
Obviously, an animal didn't get torn up because there'd be a big scatter. There'd be a huge, you know, his clothes be ripped up, stuff be spread all over. They'd be easy to find.
Not even a candy wrapper. Not that my husband would throw out a candy wrapper, because he wouldn't. That'd be in his pocket. But nothing. Not the walkie-talkie, not his gun. They never found anything.
You would think that you'd find some trace if somebody was there, especially a weapon, because a weapon's not going to disappear. It's not going to blow away.
The FBI, according to their protocol, doesn't search for missing people. So do you understand why they were there?
I remember they were there. I thought they were there to provide some sort of technological support, but I didn't have any contact with them myself.
Have you ever had them on a search that you've done?
No.
You had a conversation with the FBI up in Horicon.
Mm-hmm.
What did they tell you?
They said that basically they were there to tell me that he now is considered a missing person, and they felt that something was definitely not right, but unless and until they made a recovery, they wouldn't know what it was. That was it. That's basically what they said.
In the middle of the Adirondacks, where an elderly man disappears, two agents suddenly show up. They made their way up to Lily Pond Road, and they started to monitor this incident. Every time an FBI agent arrives at a scene and is stating that they're monitoring it, they're taking notes and they're writing reports. And those reports go to the behavioral analysts in Virginia. And what their job is to look for other cases that match the profile that they're writing about. I think they get it. I think they understand. And maybe they're trying to put the pieces together just as we are.
Like to know what happened, but I don't think we ever will. Even if they found him, we wouldn't know what happened. I mean, something odd happened, obviously. We just don't know what.
I was there until 11 days, and then I finally said to my oldest son, I can't sit here anymore, I gotta go home.
We came back, I think, for Thanksgiving. That's why we stopped. We were down to just me and some rangers and a couple other guys. That was it by the time it was over.
Willie's such a sweet dog. He sits in my kitchen window all day long. He sits there and he waits for Tom to come back. If you go by my house, you'll see the dog in the window.
Did your dad tell you about a sound he heard in the woods that day?
He said he heard some kind of snapping or crack sound that was strange. It wasn't something he normally hears in the woods. He still talks to me about it. I don't know, he almost said it sounded like a big trap closing or something. I don't know, you know.
Anything that you think that the audience should know about your dad or about this incident?
I'll tell you, you really do never know. I mean, they always say you should go in prepared. I mean, we treated that hunt like I was walking out here in the backyard. It was really nothing. You just don't expect it.
An interesting side note to the disappearance of Tom Messick is the case of Fred Drum. About the 10th day of Tom Messick's search, the Department of Conservation Rangers for the state of New York were pulled off of that event and sent 40 miles south to Schuylerville, New York. Fred lived on his rural farm with his wife. Fred was a retired supervisor from his town, was an outdoorsman. On Thanksgiving Day of 2015, Mrs. Drum went to attend a banquet, and when she returned in the afternoon, her husband wasn't there. His car was there, all of his belongings were in the house, but he had simply vanished. There were helicopters, canines. It was a huge SAR. And the eventual outcome was the same as Tom's. It's quite a coincidence that two elderly men, both hunters, disappeared from a rural area, weren't found, and both have been just chalked up to disappearing. Connects all of the missing 411 cases are the profile points. And these have been gleaned after reading thousands of cases and seeing them come up time after time and realizing that they are part of the underlying story of each of these incidents. victim is with others and decides to move away from them and be on their own, that's the point in time something happens and the victim disappears. We call this the point of separation. The most common time for a victim to disappear is in the mid to late afternoon hours. Granite boulders and rock fields. Victims are often found to disappear in the areas of granite or rock fields. Victims found are disappearing near water. This is a very common trait and one that happens anywhere in the world and isn't isolated to a geographical area. There appears to be a weather incident in close proximity to the time that the person disappears or when the search starts. The weather issue can be anywhere from a dust storm to a full-blown blizzard. Disability or illness. Oftentimes, the victim is later found to have either an obvious or a very subliminal disability or illness. Canines can't find a scent or lose a scent quickly. This is an extremely common profile point that's probably in 95% of all the cases that have been documented. This isn't an indictment of search and rescue, but for some unknown reason, the victims are found in an area that had been searched maybe dozens of times. Clothes, shoes removed. A common trait is that the victims are missing clothing or shoes at the time they're found. Unknown cause of death. If the victim is found, and when they go through a medical examination, the coroners can't determine a cause of death. And finally, clusters. There's a geographical clustering effect to the victims that fit the missing 411 profile. There can be anywhere from 3 to 70 or 80 people in each geographical cluster.
Welcome back. Like I said, there's a lot of mystery surrounding these 411 cases. Certain criteria has to be met. And in almost all of these cases, every piece of criteria is met. And that's why it's truly a mystery where these people disappear to. And it's even more of a mystery when they wind up showing back up sometime later and don't remember what happened to them. Sadly, with Mr. Messick and his family, he never did show back up. They never found remains, they never found clothes, they never found guns, and what's even more mysterious, the dogs couldn't track him. Nobody knows. It is just one more mystery that history and the unknown left behind. To know. But that's all I... Oh my. Oh, I'm so... Ouch. Oh. I can see you're finding this really funny. But anyway, guys, you know, I'm not even going to fight you for it. Go on to it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. We do. And we'll see you in history. Glad you're finding this funny. Arse. Catch y'all later. I'm so sorry. What a dick.
If I knew your address, phone call, man. I didn't get that phone call.
Recent strange disturbances have been reported in Los Angeles, New York, London, Hong Kong, and Sydney, not to mention the recent incident in Boise, Idaho, where a foul-smelling, amorphous, intelligently directed green vapor, posing as a music critic, slimed both the audience and orchestra during an afternoon performance of Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. Since these events, orchestras, festivals, and concert halls around the world have been in a state of chaos and fear. But the show must go on. So thankfully, they knew who to call. The Ghostbusters are back, and we are live and in concert, and we won't stop until every orchestra, festival, and concert hall on this planet is saved, their cities restored, their citizens, men, women, and children, along with domestic and non-domestic pets, are safe and paranormal free. And now,